Hey everybody. Oh my gosh, so the fast starts tonight, right?
Well, this is our last meal. That's actually one of the questions because people are saying, when do we start?
Should we tell them what we're having for dinner for you?
Tonight. Well, you know what, actually, I
feasted
yesterday, one meal, so that was my famine day. As we talked about diet variation last time, if you haven't watched that video, please go back and watch it because it's going to really apply to the benefits of this fast and even beyond. So watch that video last time. And yes, I fasted the day before. Today I feasted. I'm eating 3 big meals.
I feasted with him, even though I'm not fasting.
Yeah, all healthy food, but we ate 3 meals. So we had for breakfast, what did we have?
I made breakfast sandwiches. Well, turkey bacon.
I ate a pile of eggs. I ate turkey bacon.
And and avocado.
Almond butter, walnut butter.
I had some yogurt with some big black raspberries.
I had a pear with my walnut butter on it. Anyways, huge meal there. And then we went and worked out. Then we came back. And then today, what did we eat now? We ate quinoa.
I had some sardines. We had some quinoa left over. We had, what else did we have? I had some more yogurt.
Yeah.
I decided to feast with him. But actually, I'm mixing some things up in my diet anyway. So
One of the things, actually, that I was told by my team is, hey, Dr. Pompa, on the group page, even if it's like a 3-minute thing, like, you're mixing up your warm water with your salt, show that stuff. I'm like, really? People want to know that? Okay. So I'll try to do that. So remind me to do that. Because if it benefits people, I'll do it. Even though, I'm more of a prepared person.
So I'm not fasting. I fasted.
You better be careful.
I fasted last month.
Out of the picture.
And I did it purposefully. I was invested for fasting for our son, Daniel. And so he was making some decisions about what to do with his life, where to go, making sure that God was leading him. He fasted, and we talked about that. And then when we got back from Mexico, I told him I would join him if he was still fasting, and even if he wasn't, I just still fasted for him. So in that fast, God gave him extreme clarity. In fact, our son turned 20 on the 25th of May, and the next day he left with a one-way ticket. And he is traveling all over Europe. He's currently in France, and I certainly appreciate your prayers because he seems to be so at peace and excited, and he's meeting people in hostels, and he's having great experiences. And major
breakthrough. Let's just cut right to the chase because there was so much. One day you'll all know the story because she's going to put it in her book, but it's huge breakthrough, and it was a lot of spiritual oppression on Daniel. Many tears shed. Many of you experienced in January
3
that
fasts.
fast. 3 fasts.
I'm sure I'm not done yet.
Scripture talks about some of these things will not break off without fasting and prayer.
Yep.
And I talked about that last night. We did the video. My friend Tim literally came by my house late at night and said, Dan, you've got to tell the fasting group about the Underground Railroad and these kids being abducted and just sex slaves and sold into that. I mean, I had no idea it was to that degree in this country, I guess.
I didn't either.
Yeah, but anyways,
purposes
like that.
Purpose.
Let's pray about
that.
I want all of you to pray about that. That's a big deal. And of course, Tony Robbins and all these other big wigs, Glenn Beck, they're pulling this fast together on the 18th. We're fasting now. Let's pray for that. Your children. I mean, talk about some of the purposes.
Yeah, so, obviously, given the timing of that versus the timing of this, and my dad's going to be in town for a couple of days, and one of our friends is coming in town, and he actually got the dates mixed up, and he's coming anyway, so my husband is going to have to sit through some dinners this week while we are eating.
I'm going to do a 2-minute video of that on Facebook, so just
if he can do that, you can do this.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's just, honestly, for our kids, I can tell you, and even just like with Tim showing up, and it was the first thing out of his mouth, and we were just all caught up in emotion, and like, oh my gosh, we need to be involved in that. We need to be aligned with that because this is the amount of people that are fasting. We have nearly 8,000 people in our group.
Listen, 10,000. Please share this.
Yes.
Tell your friends. Let's go over 10,000. That was our goal. I need you to do this. So.
And when Danny and I, in December, at the end of December, said, hey, we're going to fast. Why don't we invite people, create a page, and they can come and join us if they want to. And within 4 days, there were 1,700 members. And to have it now at 8,000 members, we now have goals. Mm-hmm. And when we set goals, we know that God is moving because it's something that's just heavy on our heart. And we are so passionate to align ourselves. And you don't have to be a Christian or believe what we believe to be aligned with a purpose.
Well, fasting breaks through. I believe,
absolutely.
no matter what.
And by the way, obviously most religions do fast, and obviously there's a reason. It has benefits above and beyond the spiritual. However, if you are like-minded as we are and believing God for big things or to see fulfilled hopes and dreams, then I absolutely encourage you to make that sacrifice. The Bible says when you fast. It doesn't say if you fast. So if you want to experience God's best, his supernatural divine power at work and on display in your life, then you need to take a step and meet him where he wants to meet you. So just get involved, even if it's a partial fast this time, even if it's intermittent fasting, maybe that's what you start this time. But
and we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, so whatever, we are super excited to do this and journey you through with us, and just. I was asked.
I guess it was one of the questions that was sent to me in an email. Dr. Paul, why are you doing this? I was like, that's so easy for me. First of all, I'm called to do this. I'm a teacher. That's my gift.
You're a health evangelist.
If you put me in jail, I would be teaching. If you put me on an island, I'd be teaching the animals. I'm telling you, that's just what I do. If there's a knowledge that people need, man, you can't hold me down. I'm going to bring it. That's just what I do, and that's what God's called me to do. And we have our November seminar. We need doctors to understand these things that we're doing. We have a group of growing doctors that are amazing, that are doing all of these things you're learning. And we need that group to grow. So, I'm going to tell everyone about November 2nd to the 4th. So that's another reason I'm doing it. You know what? I am writing 3 books right now, and I want to
He needs your prayers for that too.
Yeah, exactly. Believe me, speaking is my gift. Writing's not, but I broke through that too. But it's like we're growing a group of people who need this information, and that's why I do it. I couldn't help myself otherwise, And
nope.
Honestly, I'm giving away these things that I just love to talk about because they are going to change lives. We need people in the group. This stuff changes lives. I'm good at reading science, and I do it, almost every day. I can't help myself. But really, it's the application of it. And thank you, my doctors who are watching this. I couldn't do it without them because we try this stuff. We put it to test. And the good stuff rises up, and the bad stuff, probably is a bad study. But out of it comes the stuff we're teaching you. So share it.
And if he hadn't suffered, he wouldn't have been reading the studies.
That's
true.
He
suffered to learn this, and as I always say, our pain is never just for us.
Yeah.
So he has an obligation. It is a calling to share what he's learned, and God's given him the gift. Every struggle, every strength is a gift because he just has it in his heart to share what he's learning and apply it. He's not afraid to step into those places of discomfort to do that, and he has a whole house full of guinea pigs.
Well, I'm going to keep bringing the health benefits of what's happening every day of the fast, and I'm going to answer a lot of your questions, hopefully, and Marilee will be bringing some scriptural stuff, and me too, perhaps, whatever God lays in our heart, but pick a purpose. Fast for a family member, someone you love. Fast for a situation. Yeah. Fast for stuff bigger than you. That's why I love the Underground Railroad, because that's bigger than all of us. Yeah. Fast for that. Fast for our country, but fast specifically for somebody else besides yourself. But you can fast for yourself, a breakthrough that you need, an answer that you need, some inspiration. But those are the things that need to be on your list. So I challenge you tonight, and that's what Marilee's saying, is write these things down. And every day, meditate and pray on these things.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, watch. Just
make your list. And whatever comes to your heart, just put it on paper.
So that's part of your homework. Marilee, I need you to run the camera because I want to take some questions. Hopefully, she's not going. She's going to chime in. Okay, so I have some questions here that I'm going to make sure I get answered. So let me just start with some of those right now because otherwise I'll get caught up in the fasting mimicking diet. Salt water is going to help most of you the first 3 days. If you're a seasoned faster, you probably don't need it, but you are going to lose some electrolytes. Now, if you've been following us in ketosis, getting fat adapted, the less need probably for salt water, because what it does is it helps you maintain potassium and some magnesium, and that's a big deal. If you're getting a lot of cramps the first 3 days, magnesium, potassium will help that. You could take an electrolyte, just make sure there's no sugar in it. It has to be just a pure electrolyte. But sea salt helps you maintain the potassium and some of the magnesium, and of course there's some electrolytes in there. So can I buy the electrolyte from the store? As long as it doesn't have sugar and it's just pure electrolyte, okay. Can I take minerals? Yes, but be careful. If there's a lot of zinc, it could upset your stomach. So beyond that. Now I know Jason, has talked about taking vitamins. Don't worry about it. Listen, nutrition's not the issue. Minerals for the first few days, because you're losing a lot of water, glycogen, you can lose some electrolytes. It will make you feel better by doing the salt water. How much? A round teaspoon 2 times a day, but don't do it all at once. You'll be running for the can. Spread it around. If you're hungry, warm water. The Chinese did this, right? Put the salt water in warm water and sip it throughout the day. That's the best way. Honestly, it tastes like soup, frankly. And it will no doubt help you with the weakness, the dizziness. It will also help you just, generally feel better. So salt water is no doubt will be magical for you. What about your supplements? Listen, no supplements. Rely on the innate intelligence. There's a few supplements that I talk about could help you, and I'll rename them. But I choose supplements that don't push you left or right. What I mean by that is that we're not pushing the innate intelligence. That's that innate intelligence in our bodies that knows far more than me, you, all of us, right? But we don't want to push it one way or the other. We're relying on it. In a fasting state, you're harnessing that innate intelligence. You're just giving over to it. By the way, that's what does the healing. We can look at the science all we want, but the reality is we have no clue. The innate intelligence heals and does things that we can't ever imagine. Let's rely on it. You're going to hear me say that a lot because it's really important. So we want things that don't push the innate intelligence. The Bind product that helps so many of you, and I've gotten many emails about it already, it stays in the gut. So that's okay. It's not going systemic, so it's not going to push the body one way or the other. The Fast Tonic, it's redox, it's hydrogen. It's not going to push the body one way or another. And that could downregulate a lot of these hydroxy-free radicals that are responsible for you not feeling great. So we've learned that that works. That's why we really put that product together and called it Fast Tonic. Hydrogen's new technology, and it's the smallest molecule that's able to penetrate into our cells and downregulate a lot of this oxidative stress that many of you, because toxins, etc., that experience that, and it really helps. Cyto Detox, it does go systemic. And it's some of you may need that. So if you're feeling really bad, then I would reach for the Cyto Detox. We can put in there just how to take it, but technically it's a 0.5 milliliter to 1 milliliter 3 times a day. The Bind, 2 to 3 times a day. I mean, honestly, those are just simple dosings. Fast Tonic, 2 to 4 a day, dissolved in water. Okay, so those are some of the products that you've seen us use for these fasts and successfully if you don't feel well.
People are asking about hormones they're already taking. Do you want to answer some questions?
Okay, you saw I even put on the thing, before you join the fast, always talk to your doctor. Being on medications, don't ever stop a medication. But here's why I say talk to your doctor, honestly, because you're going to need less. I mean, of certain hormones like thyroid hormone or insulin, things like that. So you better work with your doctor on that. I can't help you there, right? So, all I'm doing is bringing information. I'm not prescribing, I'm not diagnosing, I'm not treating, none of that. Otherwise, I'm stepping outside of my bounds. So please check with your doctor on all of it, even the fast. So, very, very important on those things. How much water to drink and what water? It's probably the last question there that I had. First of all, a clean water. I don't want to overcomplicate water because, honestly, it has to be clean. I don't like drinking out of plastic. So a good bottled water in glass that's truly clean water that that you like the taste of, that's really important. Buy that one. What about sparkling water? It can be a little harsh. Every once in a while, I think it's fine, but it can be a little harsh, and some people long-term don't do well with the sparkling water. But every once in a while, I think it would be fine for you. I don't like flavored waters because you're stimulating your digestion via, you're tasting something, and that can stimulate digestion and make you hungry. So stay away from flavored waters. A good RO, reverse osmosis water, it's clean. That's fine. Spring water, if you know your source, fine. Maybe you like Vox, maybe you like Smart, whatever it is, but find a water you like the taste of. Make it a clean water. Don't overcomplicate it. Can it be warm? Yes, because I told you that calms stomach. What about tea and coffee? No, not on a pure water fast. Tea can push, and coffee will push the body one way or the other. Of course it does. In an intermittent fast, no problem. with tea and coffee. We test. We'll go back and review that before we start eating again. So hang on to that. And please watch all of the videos. Many of you are brand new. So if you go under the group, if you haven't joined the Pain for Purpose group, Fasting for a Purpose, that's another thing. Fasting for a Purpose, under announcements, you'll see all of the videos. Also, right here on my fan page, you'll see the videos. But under announcements in the group, you can find all of the videos.
And by the way, you'll get all your questions answered.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Because we can't answer them.
Yeah, because I see a lot of the questions, and I'm like, I covered that. Go back and watch, right? So
we just understand. This is a big deal, and we're so invested in it. But we are super busy, and we just can't sit on Facebook and answer questions.
And believe me, I still get sucked in because I want to do it. And thank God this time I have a team. Thank you, team. So. Okay, so I think I answered all the questions. And tonight will be our last meal. And so, therefore, that was a big question for people. When do I eat? Of course, you could technically eat breakfast tomorrow and start then. But then you would have to break your fast a little later than the other people. I think tonight's the last meal. You a little nervous? Feel a little nervous? Nah, it's easy. Remember this. This is my friend Jeff Hayes says. Show people the refrigerator. You have a choice to eat. Don't panic. You have a refrigerator full of food. Thank God, we do. But okay, how about those of you...
If you're hangry, I don't recommend going there.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay away from the refrigerator.
All right, fasting mimicking diet, aka partial fast. Look, there's been a lot of amazing science about this. So this is if you don't want to fast, you're scared, you have a lot of other reasons. We've talked about many of them. This is a great option. And by the way, like I said, there's a guy named Dr. Walter Longo from Italy who's made this very popular. I followed a French guy some years ago, and he called it a partial fast and talked about, hey, we can still get so many of the benefits with a partial fast. Even after a water fast, he would put people in a partial fast and continue the benefits. And I'll talk about that when we go to break the fast, because this is actually how we break the fast. So, but this partial fast, you still get autophagy. Walter Longo proved that. I'm hoping to bring one of his colleagues on, and they even have boxed food, literally, that will give you the 500 to 800 calories needed on this diet. And it's absolutely brilliant. My team actually will provide a link for that, because many of you will go, well, gosh, that's amazing. They'll actually send me the food. So that's an option, even if you have to maybe do it yourself for the first few days, and then you can even get his boxed food. So that's another option. I think that's amazing and great, and I really want to team up with them on that, because I've seen, my doctors that we've coached have seen amazing results with the fasting mimicking diet. This is a tool that we use. We use it for people who maybe are afraid to fast. We use it for people even after, maybe once a month we'll do a 5-day water fast, and then we'll do maybe 1 or 2 of these partial fasts in between, just to keep the autophagy going. So the studies show that in this caloric restricted state, you still get autophagy and you still get stem cell rise. And I'll tell you, one of Walter's studies that really excited me is they took 5 days every month, and this was a group of rats or mice. I think it was mice in this particular study, but what they did was they were type 1 diabetic mice, and after 4 months, 5 days, partial fast, and I'm going to explain that more here in a second, but 5 days, consecutive months for 4 months, their beta cells, that's where you make insulin in your pancreas, actually regenerated. Why? Autophagy and stem cells. And if you don't know those words, go back and watch the videos, but I am going to build on those words, okay? But the point is this: because of that stem cell activity, the beta cells in the pancreas actually regenerated. So this is powerful as well. Fasting is powerful in general. You know, Walter actually got his background, I think one of his predecessors that he learned from was in the Biosphere Project, and that's where they actually caloric restricted for a long time, and it didn't work out. The long-term caloric restriction actually showed some negative effects, even though some of the effects actually looked like it would extend life, but it really didn't work out. And that's where he got this idea of actually doing it shorter term. Remember this, as I talked about this on the diet variation. We have the autophagy pathway, where the body's getting rid of all of the bad cells and bad DNA. And then we have the mTOR pathway. It's a building pathway in how we want to go back and forth. Well, in this caloric restriction, I said that there was 3 things basically that'll drive autophagy dietary-wise. Number 1 is decreased protein. I'm going to talk about that today. Number 2 is decreased carbohydrates. That's why you get some autophagy and intermittent fasting and ketosis. And number 3 is caloric restriction. So that's what we're doing here, is caloric restricting. But we don't want to keep it long-term. If we stay in this autophagy state too long, it's bad. And remember, I said we have this debate all the time. The vegans, the vegetarians, the paleo people, who's right? I believe they're all right. I believe it's the magic as it's switching. I believe that every ancient culture on the planet has been forced, environmental factors, lack of food, whatever it was, forced to change their diet. Today, we're not, and I believe it's causing problems. So all the debate on what diet's right, diet variation, that's my theory, is I believe that magic is in the switch. It forces something called adaptation that I believe creates hormone optimization. When the body is forced to adapt because you change your diet in and out of a fasting state, feast famine, the body raises up this adaptation via the hormone optimization. And that's what we're doing here. So in this partial fast, we're forcing autophagy. But you're going to see, we're going to come out of this on the other side. We're going to do these feast days and times, but we're going to learn how to do it right. All right, let's talk a little bit about this as a tool. And I believe it's an amazing tool for autophagy. So 500 calories if you weigh between 100 and 150 pounds. 500 calories a day is your target. I'll show you what foods to eat. 800 calories a day if you're between 150 and 200 pounds is your target. I almost said if you weigh 1,000 pounds, 1,000 calories if you're 200 pounds plus is your target. So we're reducing calories to stimulate autophagy. And again, why? Because we want our body to reach for all of the bad DNA, all of the bad cells, all of the bad protein. Remember, the protein you eat, Dr. Fung said it's a myth that we lose all this muscle. We lose bad muscle. Muscle that's hindering your development, you're hindering your metabolic state and hindering your exercise, or at least your recovery from exercise. We want that muscle gone. That's why people put on weight. One of the questions was, well, I weigh 100 pounds, can I fast? Yes, you can. I mean, you might want to start here, but yes, you can. It's a strategy. We actually get people to gain weight. Why? We break down the bad stuff and we raise up stem cells. We don't, the body does. And it starts to make better cells, better tissues, better protein, better immune cells. Matter of fact, that was another one of Walter's, the Fasting Mimicking Diet, Walter Longo, that made this popular. One of his studies was, you have to understand that when I've been trained in this for a long time, and one of the criticisms of fasting was it lowers your immune system. They were talking specifically pure water fasting at this point. And the thing is we would say, look, and they base that because during a fasting state, when you measure blood, the white blood cells plummet. And they said, this is bad. This is lowering your immunity, and that could set you up for infection. But with clinical experience, scientifically, we didn't know how to answer that until now. But clinically, we'd say we just don't see that. We see the opposite. We see a bolder immune system, a better. If you're hyperimmunity, we don't see that. If you're autoimmunity, we see it going away. If you have allergies, all these hyperimmunity states, we see that clearing up. We just don't see this as a problem. Walter gave us an understanding, a better understanding of what's going on. Through this autophagy, even in a partial fast or a fasting mimicking diet, the body reaches for the hyperactive, if you will, overreactive immune cells first. So we see this drop in immune cells, and what it's doing is it's getting rid of the older, overreactive, hypersensitive immune cells first. And then we see the rise of the stem cells to replace those hyperactive immune cells. And the new cells that the stem cells are creating are more naive, is the way he puts it. More naive in the sense that they're not overreacting. So food sensitivities, allergies, autoimmune, all of that, hyperimmune system, we see a downregulation. So the immune system isn't getting lowered in a negative sense. It's actually getting better. So all of that comes out of this. So what we're doing is, by lowering calories, we're actually stimulating the autophagy. Okay, so that's the strategy here, and we see that. All right, so it's basically what we're going to put you on in these calorics. If you're getting 500, 800, 1,000 a day, it's basically high fat, 60 to 90%. Most of that we're going to get in oils. You'll see why. Low carbohydrate and low protein. This is the key. When you're doing 500, 800 calories, so little, you really almost don't really have to track your carbohydrates. I want the protein low, less than 20 grams a day. That's really easy to track with Google, okay? So when you're eating that little calories, believe me, just to give you an idea, if you're getting your fat from oils, like olive oil as an example, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, that's about 240 calories. So you're halfway there, okay? So you see, it's not a lot of food, but you want to make sure your protein is less than 20 grams. Why? Low calorie, low protein is stimulating autophagy as well as low carb. You see? So all of these factors are the thing that stimulates the autophagy state. Low carb, low calorie, low protein. That's what we're doing. That's the whole point. Now let me give you some parameters here. I like to break it down. I've learned this just dealing with clients, but I like to break it down in 4 categories of food that you're allowed to eat in this 500, 800,000 calories. Fats, fibers, fruits, and veggies. Okay, pretty simple. And here's how really simple it is. Under the fats, oils, ghee, butter. Okay, this is where all your calories are going to come from. Half your calories pretty much can come right here. So my 2-2-2 rule that I talked about in ketosis, 2 tablespoons of ghee, 2 tablespoons of oil, you're about 400 calories right there. So be careful there if you want to enjoy some other foods. Fibers, I love raw seeds and raw nuts. There's fats and fibers there, and I like a little fiber on this diet. It helps feed the microbiome. And some fruits, yeah, be careful here. Avocados, berries, and olives are going to be your better fruit choices. And your veggies, just stick to the greens. Google, okay, how many calories in this? I can't remember. Half of an avocado is maybe around 100 calories. Okay, so no meat, okay? No meat on this. So because remember, we're going low protein right here. So you're getting your calories from these choices. Broth is good. So you can do the broth, right? And really, it's very minimal in calories, but it's nice and soothing. So I would add bone broth. You can buy this stuff at Whole Foods now. You can buy it on my website. Many of you can make it. I hate making it. I don't like the smell of it cooking. That's another story. Okay, and then again, do this in 1 to 2 meals. I prefer 1 meal. Because think about it, if you're 500 calories, that's actually if you're eating 500 calories in 1 meal, you can actually have some greens, you can have some avocado, maybe a tablespoon of oil and some nuts and seeds. That seems like a meal, right? If you're doing 1 meal. If you break it up in 3, forget about it. You're not going to feel like you ate anything. So I prefer 1 meal. You could potentially do 2, especially if you're doing 800 calories. You could do 2. 400, that seems like 2 meals.
See a typo.
Oh. Caudo. Thank God for every dyslexic should marry a speller. So
yeah, sorry, I was looking.
I'm surprised that's not the. You'll see misspellings on my stuff.
But he's brilliant, so he gets away with it.
Well, that's the dyslexia. Okay, coffee or tea on this test. Okay, this might sway you all from the water fast to doing this. You're okay with it. You can do coffee or tea in the partial fast. You can put some of your fats, your butters in your coffee or tea. So, but again, just count the calories. The key is low calories, low protein. The carbs, if you're eating these foods, don't even worry about counting your carbs. Keep your protein under 20 and watch your calories. The rest will take care of itself. So, pretty simple to follow, really. And let me make sure I did. Okay, let's just take some questions. Maybe there's some pressing questions.
Well, just to reiterate, we don't answer any questions about medications.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to answer.
Keep coming.
Yeah.
We're not,
ask your doctor.
Pretty soon, we're just going to completely ignore those. This is not what we're about.
Yeah.
We are not.
I have to legally and all that, ethically, legally, you name it. I can't do that. So please ask your doctor.
Watch the videos. Ask your doctor. Ask anyone but us.
Yeah.
Will there be, yes, there will be a replay. It will be posted to Fasting for a Purpose. He can only put it on
Fasting
his
for a
fan page.
Purpose under announcements. Under announcements.
Right.
You'll see not just this video, but you'll see all of the videos. Because many of you are saying, well, I can't make 6 o'clock every night. And by the way, you've got me this week. Every night at this same exact time, you've got me. So 6 o'clock, be there. And if you can't be there, you miss one, you can watch it.
Probiotics. Only thing you can take while fasting.
Here's the thing. On the partial fast, keep your probiotics. But on a water fast, no. And here's why. Because I like the fact in a water fast, you starve down all bacteria. And I like that because what happens is when we break the fast, we actually re-inoculate the good bacteria. This is an opportunity to actually overcome the bad guys. So here, imagine this. You have this many bad guys. We'll call it dysbiosis. And we're taking bacteria, trying to overcome that is very difficult. But in a fasting state, you starve down all bacteria, and now we re-inoculate when we break the fast, and we're actually overcoming that dysbiosis because the fact that we starve down all bacteria. So now, could you do it? You could, but I think you're just missing that one component. There's a product called Restore that actually doesn't offer bacteria, but it's basically redox for your gut bacteria. A lot of my clients, I keep them on their Restore during the fast. So that would be another product, if you will, that I would say absolutely keep. It's not bacteria. It helps your bacteria communicate. And then there's another one called a SEA, which is redox molecules that many of you take, and that too can be taken. It's just redox. It doesn't push the body left or right. So that would be another product that I would say is cool. All right.
Okay, someone had a bulletproof bar around 230, tested ketones 0.5, glucose was 115. I would say there's sugar and spiked glucose. But if you're fasting, you don't want to be eating anything, of course. And if you're not fasting, I mean, it is just the ramification of having some sugar.
I'm going to talk about every day I'm going to tell you kind of what's happening in your body, give you inspirational messages. But the point is we'll be looking at our ketones and glucose. I'll be testing mine right along with yours, showing you what's going on, what's not going on. So right now, many of you have fat adapted because you've been watching the videos. And our glycogen stores are about half. And that's a great thing, because now our body's going to start reaching for its fat. And so we should see glucose trending down and we should see ketones trending up, but we're going to talk more about that.
How does someone asked if salt water is okay when having high blood pressure?
Check with your doctor. If you have high blood pressure, here's the thing though. I'm going to say this though. If you're on blood pressure medications, check with your doctor because your blood pressure plummets on fasting. And it's normal to be cold, and it's normal to feel a little dizzy the first 3 days. So watch your meds. That's the point, and absolutely,
ask your doctor.
yeah. But with the salt, you may be able to tolerate more salt because your blood pressure is low. And by the way, salt is very helpful for the adrenals. It's actually one of the easiest ways to help your adrenals because the adrenals get stressed with loss of blood volume, etc. And one of its jobs is to rev that up and keep blood volume up. So salt actually really takes the stress out of the adrenals as well as balance electrolytes.
Okay, how much salt?
A teaspoon, 2 round teaspoons, 2 to 4 grams typically is a typical dosing. So 1 to 2 teaspoons, 2 teaspoons for most of you. Spread it out. Don't do it all at once. Otherwise, you will be running for the toilet. You will get nauseous. Morning nausea. Bind. Bind is the solution for morning nausea. Some of you may get that because your liver's dumping bile. Oh, can I do a coffee enema? Some of you, again, coffee enemas can be a little pushing, but some of you may need it. If you're getting a heartburn, if you're getting a lot of GI stuff, a coffee enema with the bind. So how we do that is we take these bind products, typically 4 bind, 30 minutes later we do a coffee enema. And the reason for that is what a coffee enema does is it pushes out the bile from the liver. And I'll draw this and I'll go over this again in the future here. But when it pushes out the bile, it holds a lot of toxin, and that's what's causing a lot of the gut upset. Anyways, we put the bind in there ahead of it as a catcher's mitt. It doesn't leave the gut, but it catches the toxic bile and it pulls it out of the body. So it's a really helpful thing. And again, I'm going to be giving you these tips, but someone asked the question. I thought it was good.
Annette, thank you. Kombucha. No. Water.
No, water.
Water.
Yeah, gotta drink
Water.
Okay,
Oh my
partial
God.
fast. A partial fast, you can technically do kombucha, but problem is I don't know how many calories in one of those things, but it's probably, that's it. You'd be done for the day, I'm guessing. I guess I could run and look at how many calories you have, but no, I wouldn't do that because again, it probably has 10 grams. The trilogy has 10 grams of sugar. Most of them have 20. It's just, yeah. Probably not.
Your opinion on raw cocoa nibs? Is this fasting?
I love raw cocoa nibs, except in this one, perfect. In the partial fast, eat them, man, perfect.
Yes, there will be a fast after this fast.
And a water fast, yes. October, we're fasting again. Our goal is 100,000.
So share.
Please, let's 10,000. We can do this, and we're going to get many people joining. And by the way, if people are joining, we had so many people joining in fasting even after we were done fasting because y'all kept sharing.
Oh yeah, this has a life of its own, you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
This is going to be one of your favorite places to visit on Facebook. It's an amazing community of people.
All right, well listen, save the questions. One more.
One more.
Okay.
Why can't you go longer than 5 days on the partial fast?
You can actually, yeah, you can. I like shorter more often, and I like mixing it up. Variation. However, people that have more fuel, we'll say it very nicely, I think you should go longer. As a matter of fact, many of these people, Zach, you're watching this perhaps, I think he's on day 8 or 9 right now of a water fast, and Zach fasted 41 days on water. I had a gentleman at my seminar. He was on a day 120 of just water. Now, he was obese, and he lost about 100 pounds at that point, but amazingly enough, with his doctor, he was able to come off his meds. I mean, his life transformed.
Someone said they get nauseous when they try to get off coffee. Is there anything they can take?
You know what?
Suffer.
Fight it out.
Suffer.
Fight it.
Yeah.
The bind would help, honestly. It really would. And then the fast tonic. The fast tonic would help too. Because when you come off of it, and the salt, everything that we said here is really going to help you.
Over what period of time, and I'm assuming you're talking about the partial fast that you're going to move into, just to break out and right your metabolism and your digestive tract. Yes, just within a couple of days, you're back to normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
5 days after dinner tonight, how much water? Just drink when you're thirsty. It's not rocket science.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to get hate mail for this, but it's what I believe. I am not a water pusher. I don't believe in downing. I don't even know half your body weight, all these things, right? Everyone wants to tell you how much water to drink. I rely on the innate intelligence. Your body will tell you when to drink. Now, if you're out on a 100-degree day sweating, could you dehydrate before your body tells you? Yes, that's extraordinary. But day in, day out, your body, especially in a fasting state, it will tell you when to drink. We experimented even with dry fasting, and it's pretty remarkable. You actually get more autophagy. For fun, I'll talk about it during this because some of you may go, I'm really not thirsty. Great, dry fast. We have a group that dry fasting for even a day, it's like doing 3 days of water fasting because your body it needs water. Of course it does. Where does it get it? It breaks down your fat cells like crazy to get water. It's that smart. It will even absorb water in a humid situation, believe it or not. So it will pull water, and there's something called a true dry fast where you don't even shower because your body will pull water from, it'll absorb it. And when you stop that, your body burns fat cells, autophagy, like 3 to 1. So anyways, we experimented that with our doctor group, but drink when you're thirsty. Yeah, and that's it. It's that simple. Yeah. Some people will drink more than others. Yeah. And by the way, if you drink more salt, you'll probably drink more water. And by the way, the whole thing of you have to down all this water to get rid of toxins, actually, it's not what you think. You can actually stress your kidneys, and it works against you. So, and you're also pushing out electrolytes. That works out against you too. Drink when you're thirsty. And no, you may be able to partial fast when you're nursing. I really don't recommend it. You need calories to make breast milk. Yeah. No detox, no fasting while nursing. Yeah, we don't go there as well. Dates of October fast, we don't have our calendar together that far in advance just yet, so we don't want to commit to any dates. We'll let you know when we know. We'll let you know though. Gosh, my team's probably going, okay, we better. No, team, no. We'll let you know when we've got our schedule together. Can we put fruit? No. Or cucumber in water? No. No, because it's just you want water, right? We don't want to add tasters, right? Because we don't want to stimulate digestion. We don't want to stimulate digestive acids. And if you put cucumber in water, as innocent or as it may. Or lemon. I know I'm going to get the lemon question or the juice. I do not like juice fasting at all. It drives glucose, a lot of reasons. Partial fast, I love it, better than juice fasting. Broth fasting, just putting broth, I love it, better than juice. And no lemon in water, many reasons for that. And I know because people say, well, hey, it helped me. I believe that. I'm sure it helped you because it sure is better than eating the standard American diet, and there would be some benefits. There's just greater benefits with this.
No tea. Unless partial fasting.
Unless you're partial fasting, then tea and coffee.
Right. Essential oils on the skin.
I think that you can use some essential oils on your skin.
Red light therapy. Absolutely.
Yep, no problem.
Juve light. You bet.
Yep.
Vitamins.
I talked about that.
Yeah.
So you don't really need vitamins. I mean, some minerals, it could help you. That's what we're talking about with the electrolytes. Magnesium could help you, right? So you're welcome to do that. Be careful. If you take a multi-mineral and there's zinc, you're going to get nauseous. So
infrared
just be
sauna.
Careful.
Some people.
Be careful. Because the infrared sauna, it could just zap you of energy. Some of you, no problem, love it. But some of you could be too much. So go short periods of time to see what your body is able to adapt to. Remember, if your body doesn't adapt to the stress, it's a negative stress. By the way, that brings me to the topic of exercise. I'm going to talk more about it tomorrow. The exercise question. The healthy of us can exercise. And I will do some light exercise every day. Some of you...
Walking up the steps.
Yeah, but you have to be careful because some of you will push it too much. Listen to your body. We want the energy to go towards healing. So many of our very challenged clients, they can't exercise at all. They just want to rest and let their innate intelligence work. But some of us can exercise. Listen to our body. We'll talk more about that.
Yeah, coconut oil on the skin, toothpaste.
No problem. Yeah, be careful with toothpaste. We don't want to stimulate digestion. So some people just water brush, something that's not going to get your digestion going.
Yeah, I do use a little bit of toothpaste, and go out in the world. So, but yeah, we use that microbiome safe one. Also, coconut oil on the skin. We talked about that. Yes, you can get Fast Tonic. You can order.
My team will put out
anything you need.
Yeah,
we'll share links.
They'll
the
share
Keto
the links.
Mojo. We'll have a link for that as well.
My team will help you with that.
Is there a place in the files to follow the partial fast?
Yeah. I mean, I gave you the basics of the partial fast. I do have a quick sheet. My team could actually make it a little more simple, perhaps.
Yeah, you could test your ketones and your glucose, honestly, whenever you want. You just go through strips faster.
Yeah.
But a couple times a day. We did it
It's
2
fun.
or 3 times a day.
I test every
fun.
day when I'm fasting. When I'm not fasting, I don't. But when I'm fasting, I test every day. I do, and just, for fun, I do morning glucose and ketones, and then I do afternoon morning glucose and ketones because I want to see what it's doing. We want to see glucose trending down, ketones trending up. And there are going to be, after we get to day 4 or 5, there's some exceptions to that, but we'll find out.
Bathing in the sea. Is it the Dead Sea?
Awesome. There's a video of me floating by in the Dead Sea.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Eggs on a partial fast, sure. Just count your calories.
No, not on a partial fast. Not here. I don't want any meats. I want it this simple, and we're keeping protein low. So
okay, so you might as well just water fast, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right,
it's easier. All right, you guys.
That's it. We'll cut it, and then I will.
Good job,
tomorrow
Letitia.
night. I'll sit tomorrow night at this time, 6 Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I will see you back here every night this week. So don't ask when the videos are. Every night this week. I hope, God willing, something bad doesn't happen. So every night this week.
Right. Share, and pray for us
yes,
always.
And we're
we pray for you.
Right, I paid for the whole group. I did this morning.
Yep.
So we'll see you on the next one.
All right, good night, everybody. Good night.